Attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Andrew Gazdecki, the CEO at Business Apps. I'm extremely excited to present this webinar to you. We are going to be discussing how to navigate the cold call with Greg Casaro, who is our Director of Sales. He's going to have a ton of great tips and really hope to lead you guys in the right direction, whether you're working on your first sale or your 50th sale. These sorts of sales tips have been proven to work. And without further ado, I'm going to hand this over to Greg, and he's going to be helping you navigate the cold call.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. As Andrew said, this is Greg Casaro, the Director of Sales over here at Business Apps. First of all, just want to say thank you so much for all of you coming out. I know you have busy schedules, but we're thrilled to have you join us today, and we're excited about this webinar. A little bit of background on how we came to construct this series of webinars. Sat down with Andrew over the last month or so, and we were just trying to come up with new, creative ways to get you guys into motion, closing sales, and really building your business. So obviously we decided to come up with this new series of webinars. They're specifically designed to help you not only understand sales more thoroughly, but approach the selling process with a little bit more confidence and ultimately have the ability to close more deals. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, first of all, I just want to outline a few of the resources that are available to you guys as resellers. One of which is the free business CRM account. Now, I will go into greater detail about this product later on, but this is an awesome tool. If you haven't had a chance to check it out already, I'd highly recommend doing so. It allows you to generate leads, insert them into a sales pipeline, and track them through the sales process. So we'll cover that here shortly. The second tool that's available to you, or resource I should say, is the Sales and Marketing Center. This is actually the most popular feature or resources that we offer for our resellers. It gets the most traffic. Within this center, you'll find everything you need from draft contracts, mobile app proposals, sales presentations, white labeled videos. So really a fantastic resource for you guys to have basically all your marketing materials all in one place. Next is our white labeled help desk. We put this together to basically cover all the fine print of our program, if you will, all the details, the ins and outs of the program. There's literally hundreds of articles outlining everything from building applications to selling them. So definitely, if you have any questions, I would recommend checking that out as well. Finally, our white labeled video tutorials. We've compiled some fantastic videos outlining, once again, building applications and selling them. Those can be accessed by going to vimeo.com/mobile-app. All right, so what do I know? A little bit of background on myself so you guys understand why you're listening to me to begin with. My entire career has been in sales. Once I graduated college, I was thrust into a sales environment, sort of a baptism by fire. I was chosen to call on some of the largest, most successful tech companies in Silicon Valley. So calling on high-level managers, closing those cold calls, getting in-person meetings set up, and working myself through those deals. I was recruited to come to Business Apps as one of the only a couple sales reps with outbound sales experience. Got here as the 12th employee, and obviously things have taken off from there. We're now close to 50 individuals in-house here at Business Apps. And I've been able to apply some of my previous knowledge into our existing sales program, and we've seen some tremendous success. So I hope that you guys can take a lot from this webinar. I believe that, I can give you some great tips in terms of getting those decision makers on the phone and approaching the cold call with confidence. So, cold calling. Now, what I want to do is start with a basic definition of cold calling. And now I know that some of you are probably thinking, come on, Greg, we've been there. We know what cold calling is. We don't need that type of definition. But really, I think it's important. By understanding the concrete definition, you can dissect it and rework it into something that's manageable for you. Cold calling for many individuals, creates a paralyzing fear. You have nightmares of people hanging up on you or being rude to you on the phone, and so it really can become a debilitating aspect of sales. So I want to see if we can kind of deconstruct the standard definition and rework it to our advantage. So the textbook definition of cold calling is to make an unsolicited call on someone by telephone or in person in an attempt to sell goods or services. And I love how the example sentence that they give already has negative connotations. Severe new regulations against cold calling. I mean, from the get-go, we are trained to fear cold calling, and there's all these guidelines, and how do we get past that? Really, I like to take it a step further and not just think of it as a sales call where you're trying to pitch goods or services. I like to think of it as an opportunity for you to showcase your hard work. All of you have the courage, or had the courage, to start your own businesses, and we applaud you for that. You've taken the time to understand everything that we have to offer, the product, the technical aspects. So this is an opportunity for you to showcase all of that hard work. Cold calling really is a catalyst for success, and by understanding it more as an opportunity versus a chore, I think that's going to benefit all of you in the long run. So first up, I want to cover who to call. More specifically, how to compile a list of qualified leads that makes sense to reach out to. Once again, coming back to the business CRM. Now, with the business CRM tool, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but this is a fantastic tool for pinpointing not only the niche that you're looking to attack in terms of restaurants, gyms, nightclubs, whatever it may be, but you can then insert all of those leads into a sales pipeline and have an organized approach in tracking them through the sales process. And that's really what sales is all about. It's about staying organized, understanding who to call, when to call them, when to follow up. So Business CRM is a fantastic tool which allows you to do that. So I highly recommend reaching out to us for more information. We'd be happy to kind of give you a tutorial on that. So after you've compiled a list of leads to call, it's important to define your target clients, or the low-hanging fruit. Now, this is different from just a generic lead, right? There's going to be thousands or hundreds of leads that you can reach out to, but by establishing what your target client is really going to make your cold calling more effective. Now, a target client is somebody that is best served for a mobile application. So how do you determine which clients are the best? The first is, do they have a web presence? Now, this sounds, pretty elementary, but a website lets you know two things. The first of which is that they have some experience with technological marketing, and the second is that it's going to make building an application for you much better. So if they have a website, you know right away, okay, wow, this company, they have a web presence, and all this information is here for me to pull into my mobile app, and that will factor into play later on when we cover creating a demo for your clients and being able to nail that in-person meeting. The second important factor in determining your target clients is their popularity. Now, what do I mean by this? When a business is more established and more popular, it showcases two things. Number one, the business is making money. Now with hundreds or even thousands of customers, it's much easier to pitch an app to a business that's profitable versus one that's struggling to make ends meet. Now, it sounds obvious, but a lot of times I find that, our resellers are reaching out to companies that, it just doesn't make sense for them to be forking over $700 to $1,500 for a mobile application when they don't get that much customer traffic to begin with. The second thing about popularity is you can actually do a little bit of homework in terms of examining their Yelp accounts, Facebook pages, Twitter accounts. All of those give you a great sense of how interactive this business is with their customer base. And it relates back to the web presence where, they're a tech-savvy business. This mobile application is going to be a great addition to what they currently offer. So web presence and overall popularity should be the two determining factors in the top clients that you should reach out to. Now, I do want to note as well that if there is a company, or there's a list of leads that don't meet that criteria, by no means should you, throw those out and say, best of luck, good luck to you. It's just better to deal with the clients that are primed for the mobile app first because you can get established, it's easy to get in the door, they have the money to spend, and then you can focus later on the companies that don't really fit the criteria but could still possibly benefit from a mobile application. Next up is a slide I entitled Who Pays the Bills. Now what I'm referring to in this is who makes the decision makers. Now you've got your list, you've set aside your target clients, now it's about getting the right person on the phone. So a lot of times when you're calling on businesses, you're going to have to go through gatekeepers or just employees that don't make the decisions. And it's important to get a hold of those individuals right away, because if you're making thousands of cold calls a day, but you're talking to hostesses and busboys, it's going to be a lot of work that is lost. So getting the manager on the phone initially is very critical. And I like to implement a couple of these tips. These are tried and true practices that I use when dealing with some high-level executives for companies like Motorola, Google, Symantec, Juniper Networks, so some very large companies with endless gatekeepers. So these tips should help you guys get the right person on the phone quickly and efficiently. The first is asking for the manager immediately. Now I know that this sounds like an obvious tactic, but many individuals open with who they are and what they're trying to sell, and then they try and ask for the manager. This is a huge mistake because basically you've given away why you're calling, you've pitched, but to the wrong person. And 9 times out of 10, an employee is going to half-heartedly inform a manager, hey, we have Greg on the phone trying to sell us something. 9 times out of 10, that manager is just going to go ahead and hang up. So avoid that at all costs. Don't give away, the bread and butter of your phone call right off the bat. The second is to be assumptive. Act like you run the joint, and I don't mean you call with an attitude or anything like that. You obviously want to still be very polite, but one of the tactics that really seems to work in this situation is removing please and inserting thank you. And what I mean by that is please is more of a request, where thank you presupposes that the listener is going to take action. So if you call and they answer, it's important to say, hey, if you could let John know that Greg Casharo is on the line for him, thank you. Right then, you're putting the ball in their court saying he didn't ask to talk to him, he needs to talk to him right away. So that can be huge. The second is, if you get a little bit of blowback where they say, may I ask who's calling? A great example is, yes, of course, this is Greg, I'm calling from Business Apps. If you could let him know I'm on the line, thank you. Once again, it just presupposes the listener to take action immediately, and it's been something that I've used many a time, and from advising past resellers on these tactics, it's worked for them as well. It also, establishes a sense of authority many times. The listener will mistake sheepishness for, being polite, or we mistake sheepishness for being polite. It's important to deliver that call with confidence and really act like you know what you're doing. The third tip to remember or implement when you're on the call is to slow down. Now, believe it or not, the speed at which you talk to the listener can actually affect their perception of you. When they answer the phone and you immediately give a quick and rushed opening, it tells the employee once again that you're simply trying to sell something. So it does relate back to number one, where you're not commanding a presence. You need to hop on the phone, speak slowly, speak clearly, let them know that you mean business and that you want to talk to the decision maker in charge. Finally, the fourth tip that I've found works very well is to simply open with asking questions, or I like to call it the ask and you shall receive principle, which by opening with a question, chances are the employee is going to put you in charge with the manager right away because they're not the decision makers with this business. If you're an employee and you answer the phone and somebody asks you right away, would you be the right person to talk to about acquiring a mobile application for your business? Chances are they're going to say, no, let me put you in touch with who will. So asking a question immediately can go a long way. So those are the top 4 tips that I would recommend in terms of getting the decision maker on the phone. Next up is implementing the elevator pitch. Now, what is an elevator pitch? And I know some of you on this webinar are some seasoned vets, so you're all familiar with elevator pitch, but I can see here that a couple people have questions as to what that is. Now that you've gotten the decision maker on the phone, you've hurdled the gatekeepers and you're in, it's really time to showcase all of that hard work that you've put into learning about the mobile industry, the product, building applications on our platform, and constructing and delivering your elevator pitch. Now, an elevator pitch is basically a very concise presentation of an idea, right? It covers all the critical aspects and it's delivered within a few seconds, or approximately, the length of an elevator ride. Now with this, I highly recommend jotting down on a piece of paper exactly what you want to say. I'm here, I want to build a mobile app that will help you increase customer traffic and build customer loyalty and ultimately help increase your bottom line. Those are, some of the main points to include in that pitch. Now, obviously, you don't want to sound scripted or very robotic, so it's important that you practice your delivery. Practice it with a friend or even just in the mirror on your way to work. You'll become more fluid, and once again, relating to the previous slide, you'll command really an air of confidence that's hard to deny. So first up with the elevator pitch. Now, it's important to get them hooked right away. You want to have a killer opening statement. Hello, John. I'm calling from Business Apps. We're a mobile marketing company, and I wanted to know if you'd be interested in learning more about how to increase customer traffic and build customer loyalty. Now, of course, 9 times out of 10, they're going to say yes. There's not a business owner out there that doesn't want to increase those 2 things. Now, it's important to realize that you are establishing a professional relationship, and you want it to last an extremely long time, right? You're not just trying to hook them in, get their money, and leave. So it's important to command that you're going to be there for them. These are what you're going to cover. This is what the application is going to help you do, and I am going to be there every step of the way to help you out with this process. Next up is to give a brief overview of the industry. So you've already illuminated why they need an app or what your application is going to allow them to do. It's important now to stress the benefits of the actual features. And as I've outlined in this slide, features tell, but benefits sell. What I mean by that is a lot of times we feel the need to immediately open with, well, our applications have push notifications, loyalty programs, reservation systems, this, that, and the other. And the business owner is thinking, those all sound great, but I have no idea what they do. It's important to stress the benefits, get into detail, and outline, well, with push notifications, you can interact with your clients more effectively. If it's a Friday night, close to happy hour and you're a restaurant, you can push a notification out to your clients or your customers that says, come by in the next hour for, half price off all drinks. And immediately you can draw traffic to your business. And I can tell you from experience that that's going to wow them right off the bat. They might not understand how the push notifications work, but that's where you're going to, it comes into play that you're going to be their guy and train them on it. But there's not a small business owner who isn't going to enjoy being able to increase traffic just by sending out a notification. So features tell, but benefits sell. Focus on the benefits that the features can create versus just what the features are. So now that they understand what you're offering, they understand the opportunity with the mobile industry and how badly they need a mobile application, it's important to let them know about the demo that you can build for them. The demo is so powerful because it, number one, showcases that you're not just in it for a quick buck. You're willing to put in a little bit of effort prior to having them cut you a check, because you understand that you're building a relationship instead of just closing a sale. And second, it is so powerful for them to have a tangible overview or a tangible example of the type of application you can build for them. Because you're talking about how great these apps are, right? But if you can actually show them on your phone, John's Pizza application with their menu, their information, everything built in, it's going to blow them away. And they're going to be hard-pressed not to say yes to purchasing that mobile application, because you've given them a tangible example of that app. Finally, you want to shoot for the in-person meeting. And in our line of work, the in-person means you're in business. So you've sold them the demo, say, hey, I'd love to build you an app, showcase it to you. That way you can get a feel for what I can deliver, and then saying, I would love to stop by and showcase this to you. There's nothing more powerful than a face-to-face interaction between you and your clients. There's two things that are most important to a small business owner, and that's time and money. So if you can get a little bit of their time and get in front of them, it's going to stick into their mind that, wow, this guy means business. Not only did he create a demo for me free of charge, but he's willing to come down here, showcase the demo, walk me through it, and help me understand the ins and outs of this application. So if you can get in the door and set up a in-person meeting, more than half the battle is won. It's just a matter of you closing that deal once you're on site at that business. So in a perfect world, you avoid the gatekeepers, you reach the decision makers, you nail the pitch, you get your foot in the door for the in-person meeting, you kill the in-person meeting, they cut you a check on the spot, and you're rolling in the dough. However, that is not the case. It is sales, and a favorite quote of mine is, sales is swimming in a sea of rejection. So you're going to get those rebuttals from time to time. You're going to get, the rudeness or the quick to hang up scenarios. But, if you can better prepare for the types of rebuttals that you're going to get, it's going to make things more smooth. You're not going to have that panicked feeling on the phone. And once again, just the overall theme of this webinar is being able to approach the cold call with confidence. So what we've compiled now is just some of the top rebuttals that are most common from the decision makers at a business. And the first of which is, I don't have enough time right now. As I mentioned earlier, time and money, right? The two most important commodities to a small business owner. It's important that you cater to their schedule. And what I mean by that is it's important to say, hey, I understand right now might not be a good time. Is there a better day of the week that works for you? So right there, you've put the ball in their court. Pick a day. If they come back to you with the specific day, and most of them will, let's say Thursday works better for me. Okay, that's great. Now move to a more specific time. What works better for you, John? Mornings or afternoons? And once again, what you're doing is having them lead you to a time that works for them. So, Greg, mornings work better for me. Okay, fantastic. So how would Thursday morning at 10 a.m. work? Now that they've led you to that point, it's very difficult for them to say no, right? If they say no, you kind of thinking, well, you just told me that all this would work for you. But, 9 times out of 10, this is going to work by helping them basically walk you through and arrive at a time that works best for them and is most convenient for their schedule. The second rebuttal that we see a lot of is, I don't have enough money, right? Mobile application development recently has this overhanging cloud, right, where it's the most expensive thing out there, right? There's nothing more expensive than mobile application development. They have visions of, a team of developers putting in 40 hours per week and charging $10,000 just to draft up an idea. It's important, obviously, that you work with them on your budget, and that relates back to the relationship building of this entire thing. It shouldn't just be, this is my hard cost, and if you can't afford it, I'll move on to the next business. You want to make it personalized for those small business owners. So you want to get in there and say, listen, I understand money's tight. I'm willing to work with you, work within your budget to get this project completed. It shows your willingness to work with them. It shows that you care more about relationship building than a dollar amount. Now, obviously, I want to outline, you don't want to lowball your services by any means, but by making the deal unique to the owner, it's going to move you up in their books tenfold. Hey, John, I'm willing to knock $200 off the initial setup fee and give you, first month's service free. And what you're stressing is, once again, the long term is what we're here for. It's not make a quick buck, best of luck to you, and get out. So be flexible with your rates. Obviously, you want to be firm, but be willing to work with them. Next up is the rebuttal, I already have a website, or I don't understand mobile apps, or I just don't have a need. And this is by far one of the most common rebuttals, but it's one that you shouldn't have any problem addressing. I want to fall back to the Sales and Marketing Center that I mentioned at the beginning of this webinar. Within that Marketing Center, you'll find everything from facts on the mobile industry, the differences between a mobile app and a website, and the benefits of a mobile app over a website. Obviously, this market is emerging. A lot of people are still in that educational phase, right, where they're still learning about what a mobile app has to offer. But what you need to stress is we're getting to a point now where the website is actually a complement to the mobile app. Before, it was the website was the end-all be-all, and there's not going to be anything else. And as we're seeing, the mobile market is really growing fast and furious, and it's important to outline that for them and stress that you don't want them to miss the boat. So definitely take advantage of all those materials within the Sales and Marketing Center, and stress once again the benefits, where a mobile website is great for customer acquisition, but a mobile app is great for customer retention. So finally, we're coming to the end of this webinar, and just wanted to kind of bring it all together into one cohesive slide, if you will, outlining how to best navigate cold calling and the sales process. So the first tip obviously is get organized. We have all those free tools and resources available to you, the CRM. Take advantage of Gmail calendars or Yahoo calendars, whatever email system you use. There are tons of tools available to you that are going to keep things organized, allow you to stay on task, and as I mentioned earlier with the target customers, you can stay organized with them and make sure that you're reaching out to the right people at the right times. The second tip is activity, activity, activity. We've said it before, we're going to say it time and time again. The more activity you do, the more contacts you make, the more relationships you build, and the more sales you close. Just as our sales team operates here, we have been bumping up our activity as a sales team, and the results speak for themselves. We get in touch with more people, and even if a cold call doesn't get you, what you want initially, where you get that in-person meeting or you set up that demo, just by reaching out to that client, maybe setting up a time where you can reach out to them later on. If they're extremely busy and they shut you down, shoot for a time, next week, or just a cold touch, if you will, where you can stay in contact with them. But the more activity you make, you're going to be in the minds of more business owners, and eventually you'll find that a lot of times you'll get a call out of the blue and they'll say, hey, you reached out to me, I didn't have a need then, but I'm seeing more and more customers now with smartphones, and I want to get on board. So just the activity alone is really going to help you increase your network tenfold, and it's going to make the overall nature of cold calling, that fear, dissipate, because you're more comfortable, you're more fluid, and you understand the process a little bit better. The third tip, which has always worked for me, and I stress it to a lot of the guys over here, is to make it a game. I mean, have fun with it. You guys have had the courage to start your own businesses, and we applaud you for that. It does take a lot of courage, and we understand that. So make it a game. I mean, this is your opportunity to showcase everything that you've learned, bring it to the table, and really wow these small business owners, and create a network of individuals that rely on you to help them generate more business and increase their bottom line. So have fun with it. Finally, practice makes perfect. Now, I can't stress it enough. I mean, I remember practicing my cold calling in the shower on my way to work. The ins and outs of the call, rebuttals. Practice really does make perfect, and I keep coming back to confidence, because confidence is what's going to separate you from all of the other individuals out there. When you know what you're talking about, you can answer those rebuttals calmly and quickly. It's going to make all the difference in the world. So finally, I just want to wrap up. If you guys need anything at all, we are here to service you. Feel free to send an email to support@businessapps.com. We have a full team standing by waiting to answer your questions. If there's any rebuttal that you guys are seeing more often, and I didn't cover it in this webinar, please don't hesitate to send it to us. We can definitely get back to you with how to address whatever it is that you're dealing with. Next, if you want to speak to us live, we have an open phone line. The number is right there, so if you need anything and would like to speak to us, quickly, simply pick up the phone and give us a call. We'd be more than happy to assist you. And finally, just by visiting businessapps.com, you can actually access a live chat window through Business Apps, and that will put you in touch with our team, and you can ask questions through there as well. So that is a fantastic tool. All right, so thank you guys so much. It has been a pleasure, and I really appreciate it once again, you guys taking the time to sit down and go through this webinar with me, and let us know what you think. We're always open to feedback. If there's anything we can improve upon, please let us know. And we should be conducting hopefully a series maybe once a month or a couple times a month, or maybe even once a week, with different topics from the in-person meeting and how to, approach that with confidence and close deals. So once again, thanks so much. You guys are awesome, and have a great rest of your day.